Welcome to the Freaky Stories podcast. You guys have sent in some seriously cool stuff for today's Freaky Probe. Two flash fiction stories. They're really interesting, taking these like everyday situations and then like just throwing in the bizarre. We got a cosmic cooking competition that goes totally haywire with this like chef swap, and then another story with a scientist and an exorcist. It's a wild combo. They're basically wrestling with the supernatural. It's going to be a really unique exploration, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I think
Yeah.
what's so cool about these stories is how they take these familiar ideas, like the cooking competition. It's all high pressure, big egos,
Yeah.
right? And then you have this like classic battle between, science and the paranormal, but then bam, they hit you with these imaginative and super freaky twists.
Yeah. Let's jump right into our first freaky probe. Starstruck and Saucy, the story. So we've got a galaxy-wide cooking competition, which is already pretty awesome. But what makes it really crazy is the swap between this like celebrity chef and an alien who has absolutely no business being in a kitchen. What grabbed you about that setup when you first read it?
Oh man, just the pure like boldness of it. You've got this cooking competition trope. We've seen it a million times, but then they yank this chef out who's basically like Gordon Ramsay on steroids and just drop him in this totally alien world. It's like, boom. Suddenly,
Yeah.
everything we think we know about, being an expert, it all goes out the window.
Totally. And we've got Chef Ramsey Bolton, who they straight up call a culinary tyrant. So you know right away this guy's intense, demanding, the kind of chef who like rules his kitchen with an iron fist. And on the other side, you've got Zog, Three Eyes.
Oh.
Glorby in the planet's cuisine is basically infamous throughout the galaxy. It's repulsive to everyone else. I mean, they set up this hilarious contrast right from the beginning.
And it's not even just about taste. Zog is just like hopeless in the kitchen. It says he can burn water. I mean, come on. So you've got this human chef who is like super skilled, but a total tyrant. And this alien who, well, can't cook at all. It's a recipe for disaster for sure.
And the thing that causes this whole intergalactic mess, the universe hiccuped. Seriously. Right when Ramsey's stepping through this portal, thinking about, becoming a universal culinary god, and Zog is like bracing himself for this mission he knows he's going to bomb, makes you wonder, right? Like, what role does chance really play? I mean, even in these huge important events.
Oh, it's brilliant. This cosmic hiccup, total random, throws both these guys into situations they are totally unprepared for. They have to adapt in ways they never even imagined. It's like the universe has a sense of humor, a very weird one.
So picture this. Ramsey, this like Michelin star god, suddenly finds himself on a Glorbian mudflat, and their emperor is there to greet him. Can you imagine the culture shock? And then he sees the pantry. Glowing fruits, fungi that are like pulsing, and eels with way too many teeth. It's not exactly the ingredients he's used to screaming at, right?
Yep.
What do you think that initial reaction says about him?
I think even with the shock, the disgust, he doesn't just give up. He rolls up his sleeves and gets to work. All that rage, all that intensity, he uses it to try and make something edible out of these crazy ingredients. It shows you, how driven he is as a chef. He refuses to be beaten, even when everything is totally alien.
And here's the crazy part. He actually makes some decent dishes, especially these roasted eels. He's got a secret spice blend. And the Glorbians, they're blown away.
Oh.
Apparently for them, food that doesn't, immediately make you sick is already a win. So to them, Ramsey is like a culinary savior. It really makes you think about, like, what makes good food good? It's different for everyone.
It shows that so much of what we think is delicious, even what's just normal to eat, comes from our culture. These Glorbians, they're used to food that might be like poisonous. Something just plain edible. It's like a miracle. It really makes you think about our own tastes, like how much of it is just what we're used to, not like some universal truth about flavor.
Now, back on Earth, we've got poor Zog. He's in Ramsey's kitchen, which is like this gleaming, high-tech, intense place. Talk about out of his element. I mean, imagine the panic, right? Weird ingredients, equipment he's never seen, and a human audience watching his every move. It's like the ultimate fish out of water situation.
Oh, absolutely. And there's this great detail where the alien audience is just baffled by flour. Like they have
Yeah.
no idea what it is. It's this tiny moment, but it shows you this huge gap between these two cultures, even when it comes to basic food.
And when he tries to cook, it's a mess. He's going off of his grandma's stories about Earth food, which are super vague. Like imagine trying to recreate a painting from someone who just kind of remembers seeing it once. He was doomed from the start.
Totally. But then there's this tiny little bit of hope. He stumbles upon salt, and somehow it turns his like lumpy pancakes into something that's not completely terrible. It's almost a miracle, and this whole disaster of an experience.
And then just like that, poof, The universe hiccups again. Ramsey and Zog are back where they belong. It happens fast, but the story stays with you.
It really does. It's not like everything just goes back to normal. Both of these guys, they've been changed by this whole crazy thing.
Ramsey, Mr. Culinary Arrogance, he comes back with a new sense of humility. And get this, he puts eel surprise with just a bit of intergalactic flair on his menu. And he's got a Glorbian trophy to prove it. I'd love to know what his regular customers think of that dish. It shows how this crazy experience really changed his outlook on cooking.
Oh, yeah. He's not afraid to experiment now. He'll bring in these unexpected influences into his cooking, even if it comes from this, outlandish alien experience.
And Zog, he's a hero back home. He introduced human food, even if it was just barely edible pancakes. He learns that cooking needs love, which is actually, kind of sweet coming out of this crazy event. And most importantly, he's not afraid to experiment anymore in the kitchen.
That's a great message. Even these experiences that seem negative, they can actually spark something creative in you, make you grow in ways you didn't expect. Zog realizes love is important in cooking, whatever that means to him. But it shows he's approaching cooking with a new sense of purpose now. He cares.
So what we can learn from Starstruck and Saucy is that sometimes being thrown into the unexpected can be a good thing. It pushes us outside our comfort zones. We grow, we see things from different perspectives, and sometimes it even leads to huge innovations, even in areas like, cooking that seem pretty established.
It's like the power of the unfamiliar. It makes us question everything. And when we have to adapt to something totally new, well, that's where the really surprising discoveries happen.
Absolutely. Okay, let's move on to our second freaky probe. We're diving into science versus spirits now. This story throws together two worlds that seem like total opposites. Science, all about logic and proof, and the supernatural, which is all about faith and, things we can't explain. What did you think about this pairing when you first saw it?
Oh, it's instantly intriguing. You have these two people who see the world in totally different ways, and they're both forced to deal with the same crazy situation. It's this classic setup that lets you really explore the limits and strengths of both sides.
We've got Dr. Arely Petrova, the scientist who hates anything she thinks is superstitious, and she ends up at a supernatural symposium, all because of a mix-up with her astrophysics conference. It's so ironic and kind of funny. She shows up with her laptop and her spectrometer, ready to find some logical explanation, not ghosts. What do you think this accidental trip tells us about her?
It shows you right away how committed she is to facts, to proof. If it can't be measured, it doesn't exist to her. This mix-up shows where her head's at. Astrophysics, the universe, things that are concrete, the supernatural. It's like the opposite of her world.
Then there's Father Theo. He's this super enthusiastic exorcist, and for him, this convention, it's like a gold mine. So many new cases. He's got his worn-out Bible and tons of pamphlets about, demonic possession.
Yeah.
Talk about a contrast with the rally. It's hilarious.
It's like pure enthusiasm, almost too much. And it's perfect against Orelai's dry skepticism. Theo totally believes in the supernatural everywhere, in everything. Every little weird thing that happens, it's a demon to him.
And how do these two polar opposites end up working together? A terrified woman says her hotel room is haunted. And of course, Arely and Thea are the ones who have to check it out. It's the perfect test for their totally different approaches.
Oh, absolutely. It throws them into this shared reality. They're seeing the same things, but trying to make sense of it using totally different tools and beliefs.
Their methods are like night and day. Arely goes straight for her electromagnetic pulse device and her spectrometer. Faulty wiring. Hidden speakers. She's looking for a logical explanation. Theo. Holy water and ancient chants. It's like a textbook example of two opposite problem-solving styles.
You see the core difference between them. One's trying to figure out the laws of nature. The other's calling for divine intervention. It's the age-old battle of science versus faith playing out right in front of you.
The story gives you all these moments where you see their approaches clash. The lights start flickering. Arely checks the fuse box. Theo thinks it's demons. Rocking chair starts moving on its own. Theo throws holy water at it. Arely's checking for drafts. It's like this running gag, but it really shows you how far apart they are in their thinking.
Right. It's the same information, but they interpret it totally differently because of their beliefs. It makes you think, how do we decide what's the real explanation for these weird events?
But then, things get really interesting. An antique mirror explodes out of nowhere, and this freezing cold feeling fills the room. This isn't just bad wiring or a draft. Suddenly, neither science nor, ancient prayers seem to have the answer. What do you think this moment means for the story?
It's like their whole worlds are shaken. This event, it's so outside of normal experience, it forces both of them to admit that maybe their way of seeing things isn't the whole picture. Reality might be way more complicated than either of them thought.
And then RLA does something totally unexpected. She uses her electromagnetic pulse device on this ghostly figure, and it actually works. The figure vanishes. It's like her science gadget had a supernatural effect. What do you make of that?
Oh, that's a great twist. It's not like it proves ghosts are real in the traditional sense, but it does suggest that maybe science can affect these unknown forces even if we don't understand how. The line between natural and supernatural, it gets really blurry.
And this changes RLA. She actually admits maybe there are things out there that science can't explain yet. For someone who is so skeptical, that's huge.
It shows what real science is all about. You have to be open to changing your mind when you see new evidence. Even if it's weird or goes against everything you believe, it shows how honest she is intellectually.
They keep working together, and their methods become this strange mix of science and, like, spiritual stuff.
Yeah.
Aurelie starts studying spectral energy, and Theo's upgraded to a holy water sprinkler. It's kind of funny, but it also makes you think.
I love that. They start using each other's methods a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
maybe the best way to deal with the unknown is to combine different perspectives, different tools.
And the cases they take on, they get weirder and weirder. A possessed AI. Can you imagine? Spaceship that's infested with demons. Armeli's figuring out, like, the right ratio of holy water for zero gravity. The story just goes all in on the craziness.
I know. They're pushing the limits of what we think is possible, both scientifically and supernaturally. It's so entertaining. But it also shows you how adaptable you have to be when you're dealing with something truly bizarre.
And then they meet their match, this monstrous thing, all curses and weird energy. Theo's Bible starts shaking, and Aurelie's fancy tech just dies. It's like they finally found something that neither of them can handle on their own.
It's a threat that's just too much for either of them alone. They have to rely on each other. It shows that some problems, you need different strengths to solve them.
But then Aurelie pulls out a secret weapon. A proton pack? She built it herself, and she says, science can bust them, even if it doesn't understand them.
That's such a great line. What do you think that moment represents?
It's like science and the supernatural finally coming together. Science is fighting back against the ghosts, even if that doesn't fully get them.
Yeah.
Saying even if we don't understand something, we can still find ways to interact with it, to deal with it. It's very pragmatic.
So science versus spirit shows us that things that seem like opposites, science and faith, logic and intuition, they can actually work together. They might even be essential for tackling the really strange, the unknown parts of our world. Sometimes you need more than one way of looking at things to find a solution. It's about collaboration, realizing that different ways of knowing can be valuable, especially when you're dealing with stuff that doesn't fit neatly into any category.
Starstruck and saucy and science versus spirits, they take us to these amazing worlds where the ordinary becomes extraordinary. A chef cooking for aliens, a scientist teaming up with an exorcist. They show us that unexpected encounters can lead to amazing discoveries. And they can change how we see things in a really fundamental way.
And what's so cool is, even with all the fantastical stuff, they're really about human experiences, how we adapt, how we question what we believe, how we grow when we're pushed outside our comfort zone.
We hope you guys loved these freaky stories as much as we did. What really stood out to you in these clashes? Of cultures, of beliefs, what got you thinking? And what other crazy pairings would you want to see? Like, what other unlikely team-ups would create these awesome, bizarre situations?
Think about it. Embracing the unknown, even if you're skeptical, even if you just find it funny, it can open up possibilities in your own life. It makes you think outside the box, challenge your own assumptions.
Totally. So think about those possibilities, embrace the freaky, and don't forget to rate and follow for more freaky stories.